You may think you know this place, but trust me, you don't. Tell me, where is this room?
I've summoned you to the chart room to explain how we're going to break into the casino vault.
Or better yet, clue me in. What about this scene doesn't make any sense? If you know, you're a smart cookie. Or you're lying. And if you don't know what's wrong, well, you'll know soon. And in general, you'll know how exactly Planet Express both does and doesn't work. So before we really delve into this post office of the future, this is the full, pretty much canonical layout of the headquarters. As you can see, there's 5 whole floors to cover, so let's tackle this beast layer by layer and start off with the first piece of the puzzle. So, according to our handy-dandy hyper-futuristic layout, we have the following rooms. The lobby.
I suppose you're here to tell me to pack it in?
The professor's office, which is questionable, we'll get to it. Hermes' office.
Okay, Captain. This is just a standard legal release.
A locker room complete with showers.
Boy, am I indifferent to see you.
We need to talk.
Could you come in here and help me rub on this new scented body oil?
In a second.
Please, Fry?
Fry's office. Kinda weird for a delivery boy to have one, but yes, he does have one.
Fry, we're worried about Planet Express.
Don't you worry about Planet Express. Let me worry about blank.
A laboratory. And the hangar, which spans 3 whole levels actually.
And over there is my intergalactic spaceship.
While most of these rooms are pretty consistent and logical, there's a good handful of exceptions that are worth talking about. In particular, Hermes' office is oddly illogical for a man who concerns himself with so many bureaucratic numbers. For starters, you'd think a guy like Hermes would have a cleaner office than we saw earlier. I mean, look back at that clip from the episode The Series Has Landed.
Okay, Captain. This is just a standard legal release.
Papers piling on top of each other, boxes strewn about everywhere. Sure, I'd expect this out of most bureaucrats, but not from Hermes Conrad, which makes this change to his office just 1 season later make a whole lot of sense.
Finally, the last form of the day.
Much more organized. Maybe not the most consistent, but we can chalk that up to Hermes just starting to get more into his work over time. But the more concerning aspect of Hermes' office isn't its messiness or lack thereof, it's this.
The cycle of bureaucracy. A letter from the central bureaucracy.
Looks pretty harmless, right? Just a little tube that accepts letters. Well, like Hermes said, that's from central bureaucracy. And if you don't know what that is, take a look at this.
Cold, warmer, hot, 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 hot.
And no, that room isn't attached to Planet Express. That's in its own building, as we can see here. And despite what that room will lead you to believe, there's no pipes popping in from the ceiling or anything like that in either that building or Planet Express HQ.
The cycle of bureaucracy. A letter from the central bureaucracy.
Now that can mean one of 2 things. Either the pipes for some reason come in from below the buildings but still have their messages slide in from the ceiling, which I guess could make sense, or we're dealing with some weird future tech that deals with portals or something. This is the year 3000, so I'm going to say that probably makes more sense, but then again, if you're using portals for making tubes more efficient, why not just use only portals? My other question is, why is the postal system in any form still being used 1,000 years in the future? You'd think that they'd have just gone digital by then. Some things never change, I guess. Or maybe I spoke too soon, because now we're moving on to a room that underwent some pretty weird major changes, the lobby. This one is actually a pretty simple case. Let's go back and look at our clip from earlier and pay special attention to the front doors.
They'll be here 2 seconds ago. I suppose you're here to tell me to pack it in?
Also, notice how there was a doorbell as well. Weird for a delivery place to have a doorbell, but yeah, you never know when they could be handy. Now let's take a look at this clip from Space Pilot 3000.
Who are you?
Well, there's the doorbell again, but I'm not seeing any sliding doors to speak of. And yes, we do know that the building in that scene is Planet Express HQ, as we later get a shot in the lab, the conference room, and the hangar, as well as Farnsworth's room, which is a bit of an oddball for the series. Let me explain. That room we saw the professor wake up in basically never appears again in the series beyond this point, besides this single time in the episode Benless Love.
See? Nothing. Told you, losers.
And it's only in security cam footage. It's certainly not ideal, but hey, it is footage of the room regardless, complete with those weird square bookshelves in the background, go figure. Now, the issue beyond the fact that the room only appears twice is pretty simple. This is one of what is essentially 3 different rooms all belonging exclusively to the professor, one of which being a full-on bedroom that we'll get to shortly. Why does this man need that room? I know he also lives here, but like, you have a bedroom, dog. And speaking of the bedroom, it's time we shifted to talking about it alongside all the other rooms on the second floor. Starting arguably with the most iconic room in the series, we have the conference room, complete with chemical shower.
Raimon, if you're going to be living in the office, you could at least be on time for work. So I'm appointing him head of a committee to find who's responsible.
The kitchen. The employee lounge.
Saw it coming.
I just saw something incredibly cool.
Zoidberg's office.
Genuine miracle cream I bought from a traveling salesman.
Hubert's room.
So much for that.
The master bathroom.
Well, into the toilet.
Or, I'm sorry, what does Farnsworth call it?
Everyone to the situation room.
From now on, I'm exclusively calling my bathroom the situation room, and if any guests take issue with that, they're kicked out, no exceptions, I do not care. And finally, as mentioned earlier, we have the professor's room. Not his office, mind you, his bedroom.
Everyone get in bed with me. I have something to show you.
Just don't ask questions about that scene. Don't, please. Now again, while most of these rooms are A-okay and pretty consistent throughout the series, we do have a few cases where things just don't make a whole lot of lick of sense. Specifically, the kitchen is a bit inconsistent. A concerning bit, but a bit nonetheless. Its most prominent role is without a doubt in the episode The 30% Iron Chef, and we get a pretty good feel for it in that episode. Here's a pretty clear shot of the entire room.
Hey, what's with all the pots and pans?
You can see that from the way Fry walked in, the kitchen's got the fridge to the right of the entrance and the stovetop to the left, and sure enough, when we see the kitchen later, hey, what do you know, it's consistent. So where do the issues come in? Well, for starters, look at how Bender enters the employee lounge from the kitchen.
Man, I don't want to hurt Bender's feelings, but this food actually tastes better as vomit.
Alright, so the kitchen's entrance is on the right side of what I'm guessing is the employee lounge. Well, let's take a look at that chart of the second floor and see if that adds up. And nope, not at all. If anything, that door should potentially lead out to the conference room. In fact, according to the chart, the kitchen shouldn't be its own room at all. It should just be a part of that conference room. But alright, maybe our chart is wrong. We've always got to consider that. If that's the case, I'm sure the kitchen's other appearances in the show will make perfect sense and line up directly with what we see here. No doubt in my mind.
Right here. Wait.
Pause. Alright. So that clip is in the employee lounge, right? Robo Hermes busts through the back wall, and where does he end up? In the kitchen that should be on the right side of the room. If anything, Robo Hermes should have busted into Zoidberg's office right there, or at least the observation room if our chart's to be believed. I don't actually know what that room is from my research, legitimately no idea there, so I'm saying that should be Zoidberg's office, but please, if you know about it or are currently trapped inside of the mysterious observation room, tell me about it in the comment section below. Oh, and one last cherry on top for this little dilemma here. Let's jump back to the 30% Iron Chef thing. Look at how the gang enters the employee lounge.
He's so proud of his awful cooking. If we don't eat it, he'll be crushed.
Move it out. Stop crying, Leela.
Casual hello, it's me, Zoidberg, act naturally.
So, if Zoidberg, who was also in that room, is to be believed, the group entered the employee lounge from the door to the lab. Think about that for a second. If your memory is a little rusty, let me clear things up for you. The lab is on floor 1. That door should lead to some sort of hallway. Unless, again, we're using futuristic portals, just skipping scenes where people use an elevator, this just very clearly doesn't make a jack of sense. But honestly, this building has been pretty consistent thus far, and we don't have too many rooms left on that chart. Note how I said on that chart, though. We got stragglers coming up soon. Before we get to some of those mystery rooms, though, let's wrap up looking at the top floors of the headquarters. Skipping past the 3rd floor, considering it's just an elevator and bathrooms, we got the 4th one with 2 main rooms. The Angry Dome. It's also known as the COVID Dome if you had the pleasure of watching the new Hulu seasons of Futurama. I feel like I need an Angry Dome thinking about that new season, by the way. Sorry, seasons.
Quarantine her in the Angry Dome.
Now, I would imagine if you're watching this video that we all lived through the pandemic. I don't think I need reminding of those awful years. Also on the 4th floor is the accusing parlor, a fan favorite room for a good reason. It's always funny. Here it is in a full force canon episode.
The culprit is none other than our own Philip J. Fry. But you made one fatal mistake, leaving this confession note.
Fry, you scoundrel!
And then here it is in an anthology of interest episode, which are pretty non-canon to the series, but still great regardless.
Do you have any gum?
No?
Not just a murderer, a big murderer. And then finally we have the top floor, also known as the observatory. And of course you can't have an observatory without a smelloscope.
Go ahead, try it. Pine needles. Oh man, this is great.
Although, if you're not a fan of the smelloscope, there's always the fireplace as well.
I'm getting tired of this wood show.
Now, to be fair, the fireplace actually sorta replaces the smelloscope, and in the smelloscope episode, there was no fireplace, so there's some sort of interchanging shenanigans going on there, but you know what? I'll accept that. Remodeling to that degree is acceptable in my book, especially in the future. And finally, there's the Widow's Walk.
With only occasional breaks to tend to my grief diarrhea, I watched the skies for weeks.
That sure is a Widow's Walk, alright. Is it the same thing as a balcony? Hold on, let me Google this. Alright, okay, so Widow's Walks by definition are added platforms to houses that are encased by fencing and used by wives waiting for their sailor husbands to come home. Get a life. I mean, unless the professor has someone special he's not telling us about, I think this should just be a balcony, but whatever, that can slide too. Now it's time for things that I can't let slide. These are the stragglers, and most of these don't make any sense whatsoever, whether they're talking past, present, or future. These are just 1000% frackin' weird. So tell me, why does the Planet Express have a boiler room in the year 3000? Is it specifically to keep Scruffy employed?
Who are you?
A janitor, Gruffy.
Why aren't you fixing the boiler?
Schedule conflict.
Well, if that's how he handles his workload, I'm guessing that's not the reason to keep Scruffy around. But again, you'd think the future would have figured out AC without giant-ass boiler rooms, especially as faulty as the one they have here, but apparently not. Hey, at least now we know there's a basement at the Planet Express HQ. I mean, that makes sense. It's not like they have any other rooms below the surface of this place that would take the space of a boiler room. So there's a sub-basement beneath the HQ. If you don't know what a sub-basement is, I don't blame you. I didn't either. But you'll probably remember what it looks like when I show you the episode it's from. Oh, that don't ring any bells? Maybe this will.
I thought you were my friend. So that's how it is, huh? But if you love your dog so much, maybe you'd rather play fetch.
Yep, the Seymour episode, Jurassic Bark. And while I don't think I'd want to be reminded of this episode considering how sad it gets, this place and its experiments actually come back a few times. Take a look. Poor Zoidberg. Not as poor as Seymour, though. Golly goober, that episode made me cry. But alright, you know what? I can buy a giant evil lab to go on top of the lab the professor already has. I can also buy there being a room that's so far below the boiler room that it strikes molten lava. But I'm not too certain I'd be able to take another secret hidden room underneath the Planet Express. That'd just be ridiculous. No, I'd never be able to buy that. So the Planet Express HQ has an entire bowling alley underneath its first floor. Yeah, no joke. Take a look at this clip from the episode The Inhuman Torch. Well, there it was. In a blink and you'll miss it moment, no less, but it's there, between the sub-basement and the accusing parlor, and of course the accusing parlor is below the frackin' employee lounge. Yeah, that makes total sense. The 4th floor is below the 2nd floor. Why is there a bowling alley in this place? Why do the floors change? What is happening? Now that I've explained why I have trouble waking up in the morning, let's look at our final room, the chart room, which may be the observation room for the 2nd floor. I don't know. Probably not based on the shape of it, but I mean, I have no idea where this room could be located as is, so I mean, there's a possibility. I mean, who really cares? It's a room for charts. That's boring.
How come we never been in this room before?
I think this chart will answer that.
See? Nobody likes charts. That's why nobody's ever used that room before then. Also, if you like charts, I just want to say I'm sorry. You matter. I respect your interests. Loser. Hey, who said that? Who said that? What the? Get that freaker out of here! My question for this room is, beyond why do you exist, where the hell could you be? It looks like it could potentially fit on that 3rd floor in our chart with nothing on it. It's got the same half circle shape as that portion of the building, so honestly, it may be our best estimate. Just don't pay attention to how there's no visible exit to the room in the scene it's in. All that'll do is raise more questions that I have no answers, and my brain already hurts already. Twice. That just goes to show you how much my brain hurts. Anywho, that's all I've got for today, and if you want more videos just like this one, click the one on screen now. I'm sure you'll like it. I don't need no Hypnotoad to convince you or anything. See you later. Thanks for watching.